Hi everyone. Our subject today is about blasphemy and unbelievers, which is the opposite of yesterday's subject that was about the believers. Now, blasphemy is an insult that shows contempt, disrespect, or lack of reverence, a sacred object or something considered inviolable. Some religions consider blasphemy to be a religious crime. As of 2012, anti-blasphemy laws existed in 32 countries, while 87 nations had hate speech laws that covered defamation of religion and public expression of hate against a religious group. These laws are particularly common in Muslim majority nations, such as those in the Middle East and North Africa and some Asian and European countries. Some other countries have removed any such law, particularly in modern time, due to repeated condemnations by human rights organizations and resolutions of the United Nations Human Rights Council. Usually, blasphemy laws commonly used around the world to persecute people for beliefs and activities that do not conform to the majority opinion on religious topics and to suppress criticism of religion. In Jewish law, the only form of blasphemy which is punishable by death is blaspheming the name of the Lord, because the first of the Ten Commandments, forbid this, forbid blasphemy actually in any attribute, of God's creator. It was disputed that the Talmud, as translated by a Jewish Christianity, his name is Nicolas Donin in Paris. In the Middle Ages, when he pressed 35 charges against the Talmud to Pope Gregory IX by quoting a series of alleged blasphemous passages about Jesus, Mary, or Christianity itself. Consequently, 24 carriages or carriage loads of Jewish religious manuscripts were set on fire in the streets of Paris, and more restrictions thereon. Christian theology condemns blasphemy as unforgivable and eternal sin. The most common punishment for blasphemers was capital punishment, through hanging or stoning, as justified in Leviticus chapter 24, verse 13 and 16. 13 to 16. Later in the 20th century, the law was abolished in many of the West countries. As for blasphemy in Islam, it is impious utterance or action concerning God, Muhammad, or anything considered sacred in Islam. The Quran admonishes blasphemy but does not specify any worldly punishment for it. Jurists and scholars of Hadith suggest various punishments for blasphemy, which may include death. And this is arguable and disputed today, and such punishment by law may vary from country to country in the Muslim world and depend whether the blasphemer is Muslim or non-Muslim, a man or a woman. Blasphemy laws were rarely enforced in pre-modern Islamic society, but in the modern times, some countries and radical groups have used charges of blasphemy in an effort to polish their religious credentials and gain popular support at the expense of liberal Muslim intellectuals and religious minorities. In recent years, accusations of blasphemy against Islam have sparked international controversies and played part in incidents of mob violence and assassinations of prominent figures. Examples are many. We see it and hear it in everyday life. Burning the Quran, shaming Muhammad, ridiculing some verses of the Quran, even criticizing anything that is religious, and above all, talking bad about Allah or denying His existence altogether. Yet, Allah told us through Muhammad in verses 68 and 108 of Surah 6, He said, "When you see men engaged in vain discourse about our signs, turn away from them unless they," which means if you see some talking bad about us, about the Quran, about verse, about signs, etc., turn away from them unless they change subject, then you can join them. Exchange. The other verse says, "And insult not those whom they worship besides Allah, Allah wrongfully without knowledge." Which means, don't insult any figure, anybody worships or respect or something, so they don't insult Allah and His verses without knowing the truth. Now, as we see, no godly law of punishment decreed or imposed. It is rather man who precipitates law or laws of his own, which is disapproved by Allah. So it's a man-made for all what reactions about blasphemy in the world against person who blasphemes and so on. It's all man-made. There is no heavenly or godly law about this. Thank you.